Hello everyone and welcome to another royal reading. The Markles are in Germany today. It's a Tuesday afternoon and a very small crowd to greet them, but they did get a red carpet and so far snooze fest as far as I'm concerned. Their royal tour of Germany and England. And so I am finding more interesting material to read on in the podcast. The third episode dropped this morning, and Mindy Kaling, and I haven't listened and I'm not going to listen, but I have seen the headlines and the fact that Meghan Markle described herself as an ugly duckling who sat alone at lunch at school. And she said about herself, I had massive frizzy curly hair and a huge gap in my teeth. I was the smart one forever and ever and ever. And then I sort of grew up and you could say allegedly became a yacht girl, but certainly became a briefcase girl. So she went from ugly duckling to briefcase girl. And it's quite interesting to me because I was at school with a girl who had a similar trajectory, didn't end up as a briefcase girl, but was very full of self-loathing and a radical change in her appearance when she left school, and changed her name as well and became very over-sexualized and had quite a difficult life. She became quite hard and quite strange. And it's interesting to me. It's interesting, this comment and this level of insecurity about her looks. And I, of course, am not a professional of any sort when it comes to dealing with people's mental health. I'm not a medical professional. I am a tarot reader and I'm doing this for entertainment purposes and all, of course, just in opinion and speculation. But it is very clear from Meghan, just from looking at her, that she has had work done. Her teeth, of course, she's had several incarnations of teeth, veneers and things like that. As more money has come in, the veneers have got fancier and fancier. The nose has changed. She has changed the ethnic shape of her nose, and I don't know how to say that tactfully and without getting myself into trouble. And the same with her frizzy hair. She got rid of that as fast as she possibly could and got straight hair and a shaved down nose, which changes shape every now and then. She really has had a lot of work done on herself, whether it's just from fillers and Botox to actual surgical interventions. And a lot of people are speculating she has had a facelift. There are scars from the when she wears her hair in a ponytail, as she is doing at the moment, and people are saying that they can see scars behind her ears of facelifts. And so I'm treading on tricky territory today, dealing with a woman and her insecurity about her appearance, her looks. But Meghan brought the subject up herself in her podcast, so I feel I can boldly go there now to misquote Star Trek. And I'm using the Shadowland Tarot because this is shadow stuff. Insecurity about one's appearance and competing with other people and constantly changing name, changing hair, changing teeth, changing chin and jaws and cheeks and eye shape. There's speculation she's had that eye cosmetic procedure done to change the shape of her eyes. I find it quite disturbing. I find it disturbing also that she is raising a daughter and with this level of insecurity about her own appearance. And she's beginning to look weird, in my opinion. She's beginning to look more and more Michael Jackson, more and more plastic, more and more hard, more and more a caricature of herself. And as I say, I saw it with a very dear friend of mine. She was a very dear friend of mine who went on this journey, and in much later years, or much older than Meghan, I'm much older than Meghan, had a real crisis in her life about herself and who she was, and a devastating crisis. And of course, this is a private matter, a private person. So and that will stay that way. But it's interesting to me. I'm doing a Celtic cross, as you can see. I'm laying out the cards here as I'm talking to you, and my space is going to stay small for a few more months, just by the way. So Celtic cross is a bit difficult to squish into this small space, but I want to know what's going to happen to Meghan. I want to know what's going on with her now. I want to know what's going on with her with Lilibet. What happens if Lilibet is not an oil painting? How's that going to go? I want to know what the relationship is with Harry and her looks, with Catherine and her looks. So it's a Celtic cross with tweaks, as I often do. Two of Pentacles has come out as the underlying energy of this reading, and that is balance, trying to find equilibrium. And I think that's making peace with that Two of Pentacles, making peace with oneself in this context of this reading. It's covered in bandages and rags and not looking very pretty, this Two of Pentacles. Let's just say Pentacles are about the physical body and trying to find equilibrium, juggling, spending money on things as well, on different priorities. And her priority seems to be her appearance. And yet she is lecturing the rest of us, the rest of womankind, about ourselves and our equality and all the rest of it. But she in herself is really battling to find inner peace. And it really is at some level quite tragic, and it would be absolutely tragic if she wasn't dragging other people down with her insecurity and whatever else. So heart of this reading, and I'm sorry it's a long reading and rambling, is the King of Cups in reverse. And that's interesting. It's got something to do with her father. King of Cups, water sign, daddy is a Cancerian man, and a King of Cups in reverse. I don't know what. I know he took lots of photos, videos and things of her. She grew up in front of a camera. Also that weird story about her wanting the footage of her wedding destroyed, and only pictures that were left, her wedding to Trevor. Let's clarify, there have been quite a few allegedly. Wanting that footage destroyed, but something to do with growing up with her father, perhaps, and her mother disappearing. And Doria, in my opinion, is very attractive and embraces her ethnicity. It's a lovely figure. She looks great for her age. She seemed very comfortable in her own skin. So perhaps, and again, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not diagnosing, I am not doing any of those things. This is a tarot reading, purely amateur opinion here. But it might have something to do with growing up with dad. Not suggesting anything untoward with father's behavior, but just some awkwardness of being a girl growing up with dad. And again, no suggestion that single dads can't raise daughters. Not saying that at all. I know some who have raised daughters absolutely brilliantly, better than their mothers would have. So none of that in there. But it's just quite a strange card to come out. And that's the figure that looms there. The challenge for her is the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is criticism. It is that sort of harsh energy of being judgmental. And it's interesting that her hair is down onto her knees, this Queen of Swords. You don't see her face. It's hidden. It's hidden, and that is this very interesting self-criticism, and wanting to hide behind that hair, not being confident about what she looks like, not being confident in her looks, judgmental, self-critical, but probably also critical of other women, critical of a 3-year-old at a dress fitting by all accounts, nasty and critical. And that comes from her own insecurity, again, my amateur opinion, speculating, and shadow energy projecting onto a 3-year-old, which is why we have the Shadowland Tarot on the table today. So really, really very difficult energy coming from these cards, I have to say, as a reader. And difficult subject matter. I'm finding it uncomfortable, just intuitively finding it very uncomfortable, and it's really quite sad to think that somebody like her, with all her money and all her success and all that she has accomplished, looks in the mirror and feels so riddled with doubt and is so full of criticism for herself, and oh well, that let's get a new nose and let's get new eyes and maybe we'll be happy then. So hidden from us, just and generally what's going on behind the scenes in her subconscious. Four of Cups in reverse. The Four of Cups is it's quite an amusing Four of Cups. Four of Cups is about rejection, is about saying no to something, and trying to overcome it. When the card is in the reverse, and perhaps saying, well, I can do better, I can have that again, I wish I hadn't been rejected, or I wish I hadn't rejected those things. So there is a sense that somewhere along the line she was perhaps rejected, maybe rejected by mother, again my very amateur opinion, and it has left scars in her that she's trying to overcome in her subconscious. She may not even be aware of it, that when she's looking in the mirror and trying to change her appearance more and more away from what mother looked like, it has something to do with daddy and mommy and what happened with the separation, the divorce, and having to go and live with her father. That's where the Four of Cups is going for me. Strange reading again. Her focus with all this changing of herself, the Queen of Wands. Well, there she is, still hidden from us, but much more powerful, much more dominant, much more dynamic, much more sexy. The Queen of Wands is very sexual. She is femme fatale kind of energy, and this is the trajectory that my friend went on. And from this self-criticism to this, now I'm the femme fatale, now I can get all of you, I can get all of you men, and I'm beautiful and I am charismatic and I am fiery and desirable and all the rest of it. So that is her goal. Her goal is really to convey that kind of energy, to sizzle when she walks into a room. She wants men to notice her. She wants to have them, she wants to be powerful over them, and she wants to control them. Again, my opinion. Past, how did she feel about herself in the past? Her looks, the moon, yeah. This is this difficult journey that she went on. It's major arcana, so it's a big deal for her. The moon is about doubt and self-doubt and fear. It's your shadow stuff. Literally what you project, what's hidden in the dark, what you're afraid of, what you don't want to reveal, what you don't want to see, what you don't want to face. It's also big mother issues there. The mother and the father have come up in this reading now. And being uncomfortable, being awkward, being insecure, that's all the moon. It's all that repressed stuff, that difficult stuff that a lot of people don't face in their lives, and she doesn't seem to have dealt with. She's very big about therapy. And poor old has been in therapy allegedly relentlessly since they met. But what about her, and what about her issues and her insecurities and her difficulty with herself, and the massive way that she has changed her appearance, and so publicly to change her appearance, and then we're all supposed to pretend that she always looked like that. That's the moon as well, that's hiding and denying stuff. That's the moon. So in the future, how is this going to go with Lilibet? I mean, she's raising a child who she may be uncomfortable with. She hopefully isn't going to dump all this insecurity and self-loathing on Lilibet, but let's see. And I had to stop for some barking there. Difficult day on the barking front. But anyway, let's have a look and see how it's going to go in future with her daughter and her relationship with her daughter and her looks. And we get the High Priestess in reverse. And the High Priestess is the silence and the quiet and the secrets and the mysteries and the being in your spiritually aware and awake and sort of communicating with the spirit world and with your higher self. It's a mysterious card, the High Priestess, but it's in reverse, and I don't like it when it's in reverse, not in this context, not at all, because again it's critical. It can be the stony silence. It can be icing someone out. The High Priestess in reverse. The level of silence that is ghosting is I don't want to speak to you. I don't want to talk about anything with you. I'm going to pretend you don't exist. And that's a very, very unpleasant card. I have done readings on relationship between mother and daughter. Quite recently I did one, and I saw this in the reading. I saw distance, I saw separation, I saw some form of rejection. And I don't think that if Meghan doesn't heal these wounds in herself, and of course this is just reading energy, and timelines change depending on how much work you are prepared to do on yourself, how much of the stuff in the moon you are prepared to face. And if she does not, then it's not going to go well, and it's going to be very difficult. And I don't like seeing that card. It's upsetting energy, and so I'm going to move on from it. I'm going to look now at her relationship with Harry in the context of her looks, what universe wants to tell us about it. The Hierophant. And the Hierophant is marriage and commitment and status. And so it's marriage. They married, obviously, but it is the order of importance, and she has been put on a pedestal in this relationship. So she's got what she wanted in this context. I would say that he also, I'm just speculating, remember, he also is insecure about his looks. He has the tall brother, the athletic, well, they're both athletic, but William has got Diana's body and looks to a large extent, and when he was young, of course, was blonde and very handsome, the pin-up prince. Harry was never that. He was the ginger one. So Meghan has managed to ascend in the relationship, in the marriage, and now she's the beautiful one and she's the gorgeous one, and probably makes him feel insecure about himself even more, and how lucky he is to have got this absolute bombshell, this beauty. What do they call it when you aim high and you get, I've just gone completely blank, when you get much higher than you deserve. There's an expression, someone will say it in the comments, I'm sure, but it's that feeling that I'm getting from the Hierophant. Now about Catherine, because of course she's tried to compete quite desperately with Catherine, even to the extent of wearing that jumpsuit in New York with the white around her shoulders, a very poor, in my opinion, imitation of that spectacular dress that Catherine wore recently. I think it was at the Tom Cruise premiere. Sensational dress that Catherine wore. Meghan wore a very similar looking jumpsuit, not quite so sensational. How does she feel in relation to Catherine and having to compete with Catherine? And it's the Four of Swords, it's defeat, it's ruin, it's desperate stuff, the Four of Swords. Upright, it's you are defeated, you withdraw, you stop competing and you disappear, and you go away and you lick your wounds and you try and heal and try and recover and try and think about it. But the card has come out in the reverse, so it's not healing, not recovering, not being able to deal with it, always losing. The Four of Swords in reverse is always losing, always trying to win and always losing, always being defeated. And also in terms of reputation, your reputation sliding and being damaged. And if she tries to compete with Catherine, she's always going to go downhill. She's always going to lose. And she doesn't seem to realize that, and she's going to lose publicly, because the comparisons that she's setting up in the press are always just cringe. Really, really embarrassing. She doesn't seem to be able to look at herself objectively. She either looks at herself and sees herself in a hideous way, or she looks at herself and thinks she's absolutely spectacular. He tells her she's absolutely spectacular. You're a model. The Cutter interview. So it's quite a sad card, it's quite a desperate card, quite a pathetic card, the Four of Swords. The things that she doesn't want to be. Queen of Wands doesn't want to be sad and pathetic, but in relation to Catherine, she is. In her mind, this is all subjective, looking at it from her point of view. Her hopes and fears, in terms of these looks and things like that. The Knight of Wands in reverse, she's worried about being abandoned. She's worried about being let go, being dumped. The Knight of Wands is easy come, easy go kind of energy. And when he's in reverse, he does just disappear. He loses interest and he's out of there. He's gone. She's very afraid of losing men, losing their interest, losing their attention, losing, no longer exciting them sexually. Because that seems to be all she can, or all she thinks she's worth. Again, my very amateur opinion, just a tarot reading. And last card, how's it going to go for her? Because in my opinion, just looking at her, her looks have really hardened, and she's gone past the point of where what she's doing is maybe improving her, and now it's harming her. My opinion, again, how's it going to go for her ultimately? Is she going to regret this at some stage? No, she's going to be quite happy with this Four of Wands. She's going to keep at it because this is how she makes herself happy, how she feels comfortable, how she feels secure. It's how she feels that she deserves her home and her home security. She's got to be pretty. She's got to be beautiful. In order to maintain her luxurious lifestyle, to keep her marriage, to keep her relationships going, to keep stable, to keep even. We see the underlying energy, this Two of Pentacles, of trying to keep on an even keel. And the Four of Wands is, she probably in her life will always be doing this to herself, spending lots of money on it. There with the Two of Pentacles, spending lots of money on maintaining herself, sending herself in for a facelift every so often, and emerging thinking she looks even better, she looks spectacular. It's not telling me she's going to have a great awakening or an insight into what's going on, but it tells me that this is going to be the way that she finds men and keeps men, through these overhauls that she's going to go through from time to time, whether it's the now husband or a future even wealthier, even more high profile man, who knows. But this is her way to happiness, and for her, from where she's standing, from where she's looking in the mirror, this is all good. We may not agree, but this is good for her. So, strange reading. Hopefully you found it interesting. I did. I found it uncomfortable, but different angle on her. And thanks for watching. It's the only reading today. I will see you again tomorrow.